welcome. Tonight we're going to be talking about OTCAS a little bit. Now, OTCAS is a system that many universities use in order to process the OT school applications, and it is a centralized system. And what this means is that a lot of the schools actually have access to see what schools you are even applying to. All of that is even on record there, and they have access to all of that, which brings me to my very first point. My thing is, I think there are three things that I see a lot of students do on OTCAS that can actually jeopardize and make them have to reapply the following cycle. And I don't want that to be the case for you guys. So I'm here to add some value. And my first little thing that I want you guys to avoid is, number one, applying to 20 different schools. I have really heard of people applying to 11, 12, even up to 20 schools. And I'm going to share why. A lot of people think that applying to 20 schools or so, or over 7 programs can actually be beneficial to them because they're increasing their chances and expanding their outlook and their chances. But that may not necessarily be the case. And I'm going to share a little bit of reasons how it could actually backfire on you. Some of you may have heard me say this before, especially if you're in my admission and my Road to Accepted program. You have definitely heard me say this before. Do not apply to 20 schools. But I'm going to share that tip with you, and I'm going to share a little bit as to how it can actually backfire on your goals. Number one, it's expensive. Just to apply to about 5 schools, you're looking at close to $600, which is pretty crazy. And so that's the number one thing. Number two, it does not guarantee anything. It does not guarantee anything. It does not guarantee whether you are going to get into all these any one of those programs. It doesn't guarantee that you're going to actually get to a place in your career where you want to be. It doesn't guarantee that you're going to be making the connections that you should be making to get to where it is that you envision your OT career being. For example, if you want to be a pediatric therapist, and you want to, during maybe your OTD time, want to be doing research in pediatrics, are they going to have the research necessary to maybe do the stuff that you want to research in pediatrics? Are they going to connect you with the pediatric therapist that you're going to need in order to take your career to the next level? It doesn't guarantee that. So applying to 20 schools, it's really more about finding out those type of questions when applying, and that you can narrow it down. Thirdly, when it comes to applying to 20 different schools, it demonstrates also a lack of focus. As I said, this is a centralized system, so these universities can see that you applied to 20 different schools, and it could potentially just backfire. So it's expensive. It does not guarantee your career is going to get to the place where you want it to be. It doesn't guarantee that you're going to be happy in that program. It demonstrates lack of focus. There really is just no need for it. Another thing that I wanted to basically address, that another common mistake people make when applying to OTCAS, is submitting subpar letters of recommendations. And I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about that because I actually had one student today reach out to me asking whether they should submit 5 letters of recommendations instead of the 3 letters of recommendations, because it's more quantitatively, it's more, and they think that that's going to look better in the application. My response to that is that that is not necessarily the case. It depends. You can get 5 letters, and that's awesome, but if those 5 letters are not quality, then it really is going to mean nothing. Somebody with 3 letters can, that has good quality letters, will show more to that program that they are a good fit for that program versus somebody that had 5 letters that really didn't say much about them. So what you really should be focusing on is, who should I ask for these letters? Are they a good communicator? Do I have a good relationship with them? I actually have one of my letters of recommendations from way back in the day. I can't believe it's already been that long since I applied to OT school. Guys, I was applying to OT school back like in 2014. So 5 years have gone by now since I applied. I really do think that what made the difference in me getting in with a low GPA was the fact that I had a good quality letter of recommendation. And what made it quality was that I just did not ask anybody. I did not focus on whether that person is the chair of the department or just an adjunct professor. I didn't focus on whether it was my boss writing the letter or a colleague. I focused on people that were going to be able to speak to my creativity, my loyalty, that they were going to be able to speak about what it was that I could bring into the program. That's what I basically did. I focused on getting letters from people that were able to communicate as to who I am as a person versus trying to focus on the ranking, whether they are the chair of the department, whether they're just my colleague. And I will share a little bit from this letter about the importance of relationships. Again, this is an actual letter of recommendation that I had back in when I was applying. This is what my professor wrote about me. Aside from time spent with me, Jessica also forged relationships with other professors in our department. Her curiosity and passion for learning prompts her to seek out knowledge wherever she can find it. As a result, Jessica has had a well-rounded education and has been exposed to a variety of ideas. More important, however, than her abilities as a student, Jessica is a very pleasant and personable young woman. Faculty in our department are unanimous in their praise not only of her intellect, but her personality and agreeable nature. She is very well liked. She is very well liked, not only by her professors in the department, but by her peers. So as you can see, this professor was able to speak very well as to who I am on a personal level. Don't focus on how many letters is like should get 5 or versus just the 3 that are required. Is asking my boss better than the asking my colleague? Who can speak to your creativity? Who can speak about your loyalty? Who can speak about your compassion? Maybe that is the OT you shadowed. Maybe it's not. Not all OT recommendation letters are created equal. Not all OT recommenders are created equal. Not all OT personal statement reviewers are created equal. So these are things that you have to consider when applying to OTCAS. Don't think that you just can apply to any school and that just because you're applying to all these schools that it's going to benefit you in terms of your chances of getting in. Don't think that just because that you should ask all of these people. Like, quantity does not really mean quality, guys. It just comes back to the basics. They want quality students. You guys are applying to graduate level programs, so you need to focus on what it is that is going to allow the programs to be like, yes, this is a great candidate that we should consider. And my last tip to you guys is when applying to OT school, be sure that you're ready. Some of you guys are applying to OT school and sending your OTCAS stuff before you should even be sending it. Some of you guys don't have quality letters of recommendation. Some of you guys have just barely met the minimum hour requirement. Some of you guys have classes still missing, prerequisites missing. You want to do whatever is possible to give these programs little room to tell you no. As you apply, you really analyze deeply as to the quality of what you're presenting to them. It's going to help you a lot. Are you actually ready to submit your stuff? And if you think that the answer is no, then it's probably not time. That's what I personally had to do. I wanted to apply in 2013 to OT school, but I was not ready. I had a prerequisite missing. Even though I technically could still apply, I did not want the OT program to say, yeah, but you have that prerequisite missing. I did not want them to say, that GRE score is still kind of low. I took it again. You know, I just did not I'm like, you know what? I need to wait. I maybe can't apply this year, but 2014, which is when I applied, I got in the first round, and that's what helped me because I applied when I was ready. Do not apply before you are ready. And how do you know that? You ask yourself these questions. The benefits of sometimes kind of waiting, but you need to analyze that stuff because maybe you don't need to wait. It's really a personal thing, and as vague as this answer is, it depends. The thing is, make sure that all your ducks are in a row. I had to wait a year, and I just never submitted anything. I decided to wait till the following year to submit stuff just because I did not feel ready, and I don't think there's anything wrong with necessarily waiting. What I do think is wrong is waiting to submit your application, but your stuff is ready to submit. There's also that other side of things, like you're just fearful of hitting that submit button, or OTCAS just gets too overwhelming because do I have to submit my transcripts or not, or do they look at this or not, and then you're just like, you know what, I don't have time for this, it's probably not my time right now to do this, I'll apply, I'll submit my stuff next year. There's also that other side, or it's too close to the deadline and you start second guessing yourself. There's a time for everything. You need to make sure that you feel ready to apply.